Yeah, so now we're recording. Thanks for joining. Alrighty. Let's get started. So, I'm going to show you I'm hoping you guys watched my video I put up online. That was an important video. I think that we are at a point now where our financial security is at risk. A good modern day example I can give you is what's been going on with um, in Nigeria. So what's going on in Nigeria right now? Now, depending upon everyone's going to go, oh, it's all conspiracy and all that. This is not about conspiracy. I think we need to get beyond that. There's been that joke with this virus since it started in terms of what's the difference between conspiracy theory and truth. They say 9 months. And I think that's getting tightened down now to probably a month between conspiracy and truth. So here's an example of what's going on with Nigeria. I don't know when they launched it, but the new CBDC called eNaira. So Nigeria, the government's trying to enforce and ram down the throats of their population. What's going on with basically implementing the CBDC. The population don't want it. So what they first did is they said we're going to limit $250 to cash or naira cash withdrawals at the ATM, and it's eventually they've now run out of cash. It's really killing off their economy. People are protesting, rioting, and it's a complete disaster how they went about it. And then they had to bring in this new company somewhere in the States to sort of relaunch this. Like it's an utter freaking nightmare what they've done. So there is that current threat, and I think it'd be a lot worse when you start working, trying to implement this into a larger economy. So all these links I'll put in the chat as we go. So there's the first one. Go. All right, so there's that first one. So let me pull up the next one. So a few weeks ago, the UK came up with proposals on what they're going to do with their CBDC. So if you do or may not know, usually the UK are the first of the major economies to launch this thing. So um, let me just get that launched. Okay, come on. Alrighty, where's my open hyperlink? Yeah, okay, cool. So this is on my own podcast that put up about a week ago. Yeah, on the 7th of February there. So here's all the links, okay, that you can get. I'm gonna put this link again in the chat so you can capture that when you can, um, as I go. Here's the second article. Okay, so those are the two things going on right now. So basically, what they're proposing is to limit your savings. Actually, you won't have savings at all. They want you to spend when the CBC is deposit in your account, and on it goes. I'm not going to go into the specifics here, but you can basically get all the details listening to the podcast on that as well as follow through on the links. They'll give you all the details. They're doing a consultation with the population, politicians, companies, and want to get a feedback by June, I think. So that's a big deal. Number two, let's get into the next one. All right, so what's been going on is, of course, the politicians get involved. This is a new one that I have not looked at, but basically, what's going on right now, our politicians are trying to fight this thing. Let me see here. Open hyperlink. There we go. So right now, there's a congressman trying to fight it. I don't know if this is for political points, but more people will rally and will rally. And this will build for sure as people start to wake up and really understand what this threat really means. And the same thing's going on with a bunch of agencies in England as well, are questioning this as well. So there is pushback on this. Okay, let me go on to the next point. So as you can see, I'm kind of whizzing through this pretty fast. So again, the video I've put up, the secret video, I guess you could call it, it's about an hour long, and this explains everything in full detail, plus some options. But the one option I want to present tonight are the decentralized exchanges out there. I've gone through in this video here, and if you need to know the password CBDC lowercase, okay, so that's the password for whoever's on this. Okay, and as I said, that's about an hour long. It's an unlisted video on YouTube, and I go through all the different options that's available. So, as I said tonight, we're going to focus on the decentral exchanges. So, any questions so far? I know it's a lot of information, but if you want to type on the chat or just voice your opinion on this. Yes, no, maybe. Okay, I guess I continue. All right, so the best option I can figure, oh, before I get started, this is really important, is you got to make sure you pay your tax wherever you live. I'm not sitting here showing you tax evasion or what to do. And again, this is only for educational purposes. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is just that. So out there, there's a big movement for uh, decentral, decentralized exchanges. So what I mean is there's kind of two of them, the big ones. There's Uniswap, and then there is Pancake. There's other ones that I've also mentioned in that private video, like DXDY. I mean, these are all scams, and people may or may not like to hear that, but I give my reasons in that video. But generally, what needs to be understood about Uniswap here is this is a very best probable solution, but there's some actually benefits that come out of using this. So we're not talking about Coinbase, Binance, or Kraken. We're talking about actual this exchange here. It's decentralized, as you can see here. This is CoinGecko. This is not CoinMarketCap.com, which is owned by Binance. So this is more neutral. This reporting website on all the crypto industry. So CoinGecko is pretty safe. So there's three versions of Uniswap, and you got to understand when you get um, into this world of basically we'll call it, remember, you're stepping outside of the regular system where there's no regulation here, so you could lose your money here. This is high risk, so I'm not going to take responsibility if you make dumb moves here on being on Uniswap or any of these type of websites or exchanges. So you got to acknowledge that you got to be very careful here what you put out, but I'm just showing you the highlights. So, any questions so far, comments before I get into Uniswap? So, I think this is where the future of crypto trading will go. And Uniswap's going to lead the way. And I say that here because I just want to show you this. This is kind of shocking. So, this is back in November 15th, 2022, not far long ago. And what we got here is headline: Uniswap overtakes Coinbase as second largest exchange trading Ethereum today. So basically, this exchange, from what I've seen, I did put up a post somewhere else, and I'm gonna have to mute people here. Sorry. So hang on here. Okay, hang on here. Okay, I think we got the problem solved. All right, so as I said with Uniswap is back in November had higher trading volume than Coinbase. I did put up an article somewhere showing that Uniswap is as big and growing faster now than Coinbase. Remember, Coinbase is the largest US based exchange out there. So this new decentralized exchange is getting bigger. Again, I've gone through the whole details on this exchange in that private video. So if you want to go there to get more info, that I would strongly recommend. Now, this is built on Ethereum, the blockchain. Okay. So there's no Bitcoin here except for one of the coins called WBTC, which is a wrapped version of BTC. So that's the closest you're going to get to trading Bitcoin on uh, Uniswap. But one important thing, and this is the key here. This is the big key that I'm about to show you. So right here, I want to show you. Let me just make sure I'm not missing a link here. Okay. So this is version two. So as I said, there's three versions of Uniswap. This is, I believe, version two. You start to get these weird looking coins that you've never heard of by volume. You don't want to trade on these exchanges. So you got this eggs and Ethereum. So this is probably a coin that's just been probably airdropped or some kind of scam. But you can see all the different pairs you have here, all in Ethereum. But this is the coin you want to watch. Okay, either of these. Now I could go on about stable coins. I don't know if you guys heard about the U.S. government sanctioning and investigating Binance, and they've also put a lawsuit in with Paxos, and Paxos is the one that mints the BUSD, the Binance USD stablecoin for Binance. So Binance is kind of in trouble somewhat, and they're going to have to. They're probably going to get booted out of the US because of it, and they've already hinted that they're going to do it, even though they're saying that they're not. So their stable coin of choice of the BUSD is being removed. They've kicked out USDC out of their exchange, so there's no more USDC and USDT Tether. That stable coin is in trouble as well because when the pressure last year happened uh, with basically the meltdown of crypto, basically Tether for a very short period of time depegged from the US dollar. And that just shows you how vulnerable Tether is as a stable coin. So you don't want to trade Tether. The other big thing you don't want to trade with Tether is that they're not part of the Davos crowd, which is sounding weird, but that's important because as the US goes through all this regulation, there's only going to be one stable coin still standing, and that's going to be USDC. So USDC is owned and been founded by a company called Circle, and that company was a guest at Davos at the World Economic Forum, and that tells you after all the after the regulation coming in worldwide, the only stable coin that will be left that will be friendly for regulators is going to be USDC. So forget Tether, uh, forget the other one, BUSD, because of the Paxos thing, as I mentioned, it's going to be USDC. So my point here on Uniswap, when you look at what's being traded here, it's these pairs right here. USDC Ethereum and Ethereum USDT on Uniswap. Your best bet is to build a robot um, for Uniswap and trading only this coin. Okay. If you're going to participate in the next generation of crypto trading bots, because I'll tell you right now, volatility will kill you if you try to build a trading bot for any kind of coin, namely even if it's for an altcoin, you will get killed because of the volatility. And in order to stabilize your trading, you need to trade with a stable coin. Obviously, this is the big one to do that in, and you want to do it with one of the top two crypto coins, be it Ethereum or Bitcoin, because usually Bitcoin and Ethereum move together as well. And you can see here, let me pull up the other link here as well on this one here on Doom. So this one as well. So this is version 3 now of Uniswap. So you can see here somebody did a call to Uniswap, and you can see here what are the most popular coins to trade in. uh, Wrapped Ethereum in USDC, and you can also do some little arbitrage trading here as well. Probably high speed as well if you wanted USDC against Tether as well. So that's what's being traded the most on Uniswap. So people are picking up on the concept that they want to get some basically some uh, I don't want to call it arbitrage opportunity, but just profit and loss opportunity on this one coin. And you can also, as I said, do the flip side of USDC against Ethereum. And people are noticing that there's some arbitrage opportunity between USDC and USDT as well. And these are all stable coins. So these are not going to be crazy volatile moves, but and I'm pretty sure that you may not get the restrictions that you would get with a traditional uh, central exchange that will give you how many calls you make to, let's say, Uniswap. So the opportunities are there. Just got to build that out. And that's all my information I want to give you on that, because this right here um, is important, because you need to understand that CBDCs are here. They will control you. They will limit you, no matter where you go, because virtually every country out there, with the exception of maybe uh, Salvador or St. Kitts, that are very crypto friendly, are going to have legal tender as one of the crypto coins, namely, obviously, Bitcoin. And yeah, that's our future. And the CBDCs are here to basically enslave you. I hate saying that, but that's the way it's looking based upon that UK proposal, as I mentioned earlier. And that's just the way it goes. If you guys got any questions, I'm gonna unmute you guys, or let me see here. If you guys got any questions, just type them in the chat, and I'll do it that way. It's probably better to minimize noise. Any of you guys got any questions at all on this? Because I do think that these CBDCs are a real concern uh, moving forward. They could come as soon as a year from now. It like technically everything's there. Some of the coins that they're looking at to turn into you are using as a CBDC is Ripple XRP. File coins come out, and that's kind of it that I've seen. What you do is just do a Google search for the Davos World Economic Forum guest list. Find that and look for all the companies that all the crypto companies that are part of that conference. Remember, that's by invitation only. So once they go through all the heavy regulation, dollars to donuts will say those companies that went to Davos that are recognized by Davos will be the ones left standing after all this regulation, because they're the ones that are favored. And as I said, those companies include Ripple, Filecoin, uh, Coinbase, um, Circle, as I said, for USDT, and it's a very small subset that is friendly towards uh, the West and the Davos crowd. So that's important to know, and that's why I'm saying focus on those companies. So Ripple, yes, because it's centrally owned by a consortium of banks. Also, USDC, yes, for because it's owned by Circle, and as I said, they were part of Davos. So I think knowing that as well as the exchange that will be friendly, at least in the West, will be Coinbase. So that's what I'm seeing. Any questions on that? And if you do decide to go with a Uniswap, you do have USDCs there, so you can trade Ethereum and USDC. Uh, to build a little bot that will basically, on the technical side, it will basically, when Ethereum moves up, you put money into Ethereum. When Ethereum starts to decline, you just put that same profit and you just put it back into USDC because once you're able, then that's all the bot does. It's like once you see USD, sorry, one you hold your cash in USDC, um, or I'm sorry, if you're doing it, let's say you're doing it using this pair on Uniswap, hold hold your capital or cash in USDC when Ethereum starts to perform or wrapped Ethereum starts to perform, then you just put money into and transfer money into the wrapped Ethereum. And once you start to see signs of uh, Ethereum come down, put the money back into USDC, and that's it. And you've covered your stable trading because you're holding in USDC, which obviously is supposed to be pegged to the US dollar. So that's probably the safest way now to build an automated crypto trading bot on cryptocurrency on on a decentral exchange like Uniswap, and you can still do the same thing for sure on a central exchange as well. But that's probably the simplest way to trade with that type of technical. If you have the technical know-how, you guys got questions at all? Let me know. Any questions at all? If not, okay, I'm gonna here. Everyone should be unmuted. Okay, so if you got questions, just unmute yourself. If not, what I will do is, okay, so what I'm doing right now, I'm doing a website audit on all my content, and basically a lot of the content I post on any of my domains will probably stay up for 2 or 3 days if it's not friendly to in the eyes to Google. And what that means, it gets removed. So when I post something, it will be very online, short lived, for like the most 2 or 3 days. So basically, what that means is uh, the content I post and all this stuff will be very, very, very limited. And I'm doing that to keep Google happy. And a lot of my content will be more focusing on analysis of whatever it's Bitcoin or if it's stock or whatever. But that will be very short lived, and where that goes will end up in Seeking Alpha. So, any of you guys got any questions or comments while I've talked about this? I appreciate you attending. If not, okay. So, as I said, where I was leading to is there's two areas. I've just done a full week or so of CBDC on the dangers of it, what we need to do to circumvent it. And the next two areas I'm looking at in terms of just general investing. I just put up a podcast today on dividend income and living off of dividend income. Hold on here. From long, is it possible to circumvent CBDC? Yeah, I just put it up with all the solutions. On the video, I put up the private video as well as this solution I'm talking about with Uniswap. So yes, absolutely, you can circumvent it because if you watch the video, you'll start to see that there is a whole ecosystem of where you can spend with various merchants online to only use crypto. And that's becoming more and more. And the other way, maybe to get around, I can't say if it will happen or not, but there's a company called Strike. And with Strike, I'm not sure how you follow or what you follow, but Bitcoin has had a project for quite a while, and they just It's been live now for about a year. Bitcoin's put out a network called the Lightning Network, and that's been pretty well mainstream now. And that enables you to transfer Bitcoin from one person to another person through the blockchain very quickly, virtually no commission fees. So there's a company that's built out on top of the Lightning Network something for retailers. So with retailers, um, they're now jumping aboard using this Strike technology, and it's getting so good now with Strike. Actually, I should pull it up. Um, with Strike, uh, let me just see here. Okay, so Strike. Let me see. Let me just pull this up. And probably Lightning Network. This will probably help. Okay, here we are. So this company is about to do an IPO. It was just announced today that Goldman Sachs, to their wealthy customers, that they're going to get access to the initial pre-IPO shares on this company. So this company is going mainstream, built on Lightning. Okay, so there's a whole wallet, whole ecosystem built on Strike, sorry, on Lightning Network, which is really for Bitcoin, and this will go mainstream without a doubt. So this will be a new option to trade, uh, transact with Bitcoin very conveniently, and this will be a primary competition to PayPal with much lower commissions. So this is all built on crypto. So I'm just giving you what another option is available that you'll be able to build this out. Strike was not part of the guests of WEF, but I don't think we need to worry about that because, as I said, if Goldman Sachs is offering the early pre-IPO shares to their wealthy customers, this is definitely a company going mainstream. But good question, Karen. Okay, so yes, you will be able to use this to answer Long's question from the primary video. A lot of governments don't like this. A lot of governments are banning this coin. They just had Dubai of all countries make this illegal. Monero, private coin. This is like the same coin that is as old as Bitcoin, had the same spirit, but this is the only crypto coin out there that still holds the private anonymous security of what Bitcoin was supposed to be. And a lot of countries are very threatened by this. But in terms of transacting, there are these two merchant networks. You have 1,300 different vendors to go through. So I'll put this up on the chat if you want to capture that. And and yeah, I just posted it. So in here you have 1,300 different vendors and merchants to be able to buy whatever you want in the world of crypto. And you get some mainstream. You can do travel with this. You can do buying gold bullion. It's pretty crazy. But yes, hopefully, as long as the regulators don't touch this, yeah, you will be able to circumvent CBDCs by learning about these type of merchants through various different crypto options. So this is one of the areas that that private video addressed. So you can see that in the chat. Any other questions at all? So, yeah, I forgot what I was trying to get into. Okay, so any other questions about CBDCs? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, so let me show you what I wanted to show you where I'm going with this, okay? Because this is kind of important. There's going to be fewer and fewer places where you can trade, okay, and invest safely. One area a lot of people are wanting to trade and invest is using dividend income. Uh, and okay, let me just address Long's question. Yeah, you're right, Long, in terms of where you live for CBDCs. I don't think that there will be a free get out of jail equivalent card wherever you live. But that is one option you can look out to get out. of countries that are being very restrictive here with these CBDCs. They're obviously in the Five I countries, English speaking, Five I meaning US, Canada, uh, Britain, Australia, New Zealand, plus obviously whatever countries in the EU. And yeah, this will be very, very controlling. And unfortunately, the way it's looking, I would say that in my case, I'm British born, so I have options. So I can go to smaller islands that are part of the old Commonwealth of Britain. For me, there's no tax, virtually no tax, and there's no restrictions. So the government's out of my way, out of my face, so I can do things where I'm hoping not to worry about CBDCs. I don't know where they stand at where I'm going, but who knows? But as I said, El Salvador is one country that is really promoting Bitcoin as an example, or some other countries that are gonna. I can't remember which country it was in Africa, but they are making Bitcoin legal tender. So right there, that tells you you will have options to participate in their economy and globally, but not be forced into a CBDC like in Nigeria, as I said. Yeah, well, as I said, Nigeria, Karen, is the one that's going through its problems right now, as I led with this article, this one right here, with the calamity that they're going through, that the government's trying to really ram down their citizens' throats. That's just a modern day example of what could happen. Virtually, they're rioting, they're destroying anything when it comes to banking. Another great example is Lebanon as well. And they got locked out. They got a lot of the Lebanese residents got locked out of their bank accounts. Another good example is when you look at countries that are poor. Venezuela is a great example, and the only way they can survive is on a Bitcoin or a crypto of some kind to keep themselves going, just to survive. And Brazil apparently is looking at Bitcoin as well. So
Brian,
go ahead, go ahead.
it is Central African Republic that is the second in the world after El
Yeah,
Salvador.
yeah, that's right. Thanks, man. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. And yeah, you may be forced out to move out. I mean, I can get into all the political stuff that else is going on, but that's something that you guys don't want to hear about. But we are moving into a very uncertain time. And as I said, for me, I'm on this service or an app called Feedly, and I read all different types of content every day. I post it on my chat server in different categories. But one area that people think they're going to get stability and income will be using dividend income. I just posted this a few hours ago. I just posted two articles, okay? And I'm going to do a webinar on this on my next webinar, okay? Just to give you an example of what's going on here. I think if you have a trading account, you'll be okay. You'll be able to build wealth through the trading account. And a good example of that will be 2020. Look at when everything got locked down, everything got closed up. Stores, if you had a home, you can't boot the tenant out. They're allowed to stay even if they don't pay. But what did really well in 2020 was the stock market. Okay, so the stock market will be fine. That's one of the big areas where I'm really focusing on now, and you're getting okay success. I'm not gonna lie to you; it's not easy to go there. But one area that people are really wanting to make money from in a stable way is dividend income. But look, example. Now this was just on the 22nd, which was yesterday. Intel slashes dividends by 65%. Okay, so because the company's doing well, they cut their dividend. So it goes even worse. Okay, look at all the companies that are eliminating their dividends. Rio Tinto, BHP, they're eliminating their dividends. Other companies have cut. Blackstone, the real estate income trusts are dying, so they've cut their dividend. And for a while, people were not able to withdraw out of their Blackstone accounts because they were in trouble. Um, this is Blackstone. This is the old sister company of BlackRock back in the day. Um, AT&T cut their dividend by half. So if things get really bad, you will not be able to use dividend income as a form of earning any form of income. It's not stable. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It just don't rely on it 100%. Okay, and that's one of the big factors. Another area, and he's online here, and he inspired me to do this topic as well, is that what's going on back in 2008 in the last financial crisis, there were so many scams going on for investment opportunities. And one of the big areas that they were scamming people were these startups because they'd go out and build out all these startup companies that ended up either not succeeding. Not saying that those were scams, but there were scams, startups that knew that they weren't going to make money. There were VCs knowing that they weren't going to make money. And this is an area that you will need to take heed on to stay away from because there's a lot of companies that are not going to make it. And people are pouring like they're not life savings in it, but like Gob's amount of money, like 50, 100K into these things that don't make money. The only way to make money there legitimately is if you have a lot of money and you are part of a company like or a client you're a client of a company like let's say Goldman Sachs that will make that offer to you on a company like this one, like Strike, right? But outside of that, I would strongly recommend stay away from those startups because I'll give you an example. When FTX started, I knew that that was going to be a scam because they are operating in the US, but why are they being headquartered in Bahamas? People can't figure that out, but yet there's companies like what's the one Sequoia, Andreessen Herkowitz or whatever, put tons of money into this company along with you get the tools like Kevin O'Leary going on, yeah, it's great. Invest into FTX, you'll make lots of money. And look what happens. And it was a total scam on top of you get a guy like Kevin O'Leary's paid what 11 was it $11 million to shill for FTX, and a lot of these companies knew that it was going to be a scam. I did another company here in that private video, DXDY, looks great, okay, but the problem here, well, EXDY exchange, okay, this is a crypto exchange, decentralized, right? Uh, DX. Let me do a search here. Sometimes when you're rushing through stuff, so DXDY exchange. Hopefully this will load up. Here we go. So this is supposed to be a legitimate exchange, but when you look at the bottom here, you can see who's investing. I don't know. They used to put the people who are investing into this exchange. You got the guys like Brian Armstrong, and you got the guys like Andreessen again. These guys are like creeps. They take based upon hype. Once they get something built out, they take money and they take their investment out, knowing full well that these will end up being scams. So you have to be very, very careful with these type of areas. Next question. Don't these startups tend to have low market caps? That's another good point. Yeah, a lot. I used to know and work at personally back in '08 because there's nowhere to make money. And I'll do an example of this as a webinar, as a story. But basically, you're working minimum wage, and the companies know that and exploit you for your talent, and they're going out to VCs and they're begging for as low as like a quarter million, $500,000 just to get through the next, let's say, 2, 3 months with their payroll or whatever else. But yeah, they do have very low market cap, no market cap at all if they're not even getting valued. A lot of these are at the angel investing stage still. And I would wait it out if you're going to do it. Or again, if you're in the know-how with a large bank and you have enough capital. I'm indirectly networked into BMO, Bank of Montreal, and there's lots of IPOs they put out there, and a lot of them are kind of we don't know, but they do their so-called due diligence. But this company, I think, is fully legit, and it's now being piped through their investors in the strike. That's only the only time when you get into these early startup companies that have established, that are mature, that have some kind of market value, and then there'll be the initial round, and there'll be round two, three, and so on. So, yeah, you got to be very leery of these kind of companies, and even this company may turn out to scam. I don't know. Based upon what I'm doing on the stock front, I've got about 20 stocks being watched right now. They're mid caps. They're listed on the stock market. Usually they have very high like these. A lot of these companies are in the billions, and they're mid cap, like $20, $40. And if you saw the performance of them, you would be blown away. And my question is, why aren't people putting money into these companies that are legitimately listed on the markets? And that's one area, as I said, that it will be safe in like not like we're dealing with a stock market, right? Heavily regulated, lots of liquidity, and that's where I put your primary investment into is through that or through ETFs listed through safe brokers like Interactive Brokers or Thinkorswim or whatnot. Outside of that, a lot of it's just speculative, just that speculative, garage operations. So yeah, I got some strong feelings on that because I don't want people to either waste their time on it or get burnt at the other end of it. Because especially now, going into a recession, that's where you get all these desperate companies uh, going out there looking for investment because the VCs have dried up, the venture capital is all dried up, and they're very picky, picky, picky right now. And the only companies that will do any or get any form of investment are the ones that are at a certain stage, and it will be companies like Strike or crypto related, but are really well established and got a solid track record that can show growth, not these garage operations. Yeah, great to have an idea, but unfortunately, a lot of them may not make it. And there's lots of interviews you can watch on, again, Kevin O'Leary, and he says 99% of his investments are money losers. The only reason he's investing in these things is because he's hoping that one of them will be a major, major payback in spades, and that's why he invests quite a bit in these small venture startups on things like Dragon's Den and Shark Tank. Oh, sorry for that long-winded one. Any other questions at all?
But remember that FTX also got approval by SEC, and overnight they are not legal anymore. And now you see with Binance, it, so what's the chance that Strike can be good boy one day and next day it's bad boy?
That's true. I don't deny that. I mean, if you want my opinion, I wouldn't. I mean, we're talking private equity here.
Yeah.
I would not put money into private equity at all. Okay. The broker wealth fund guys know that I deal with, and they're multi-million dollar clientele. They know my view of it, so they don't present anything at all, and they keep the account very trim and slim. But I do see where they're failing as well. That's okay, but the money's safe and there's return, right? But but those kind of companies do their due diligence, but that doesn't mean you stop there. As I said, when it came to FTX, as I said earlier, if I know I see FTX's headquarters are in Bahamas and they're trying to operate in the US. My first question is, why are they not operating in the US, right? And if that cannot be answered, I wouldn't touch that company from an investment point of view, nor would I trade on FTX because I knew it was a scam or would be a scam. And voila, here we are. You could say the same thing about retail Forex brokers that are not registered and legally recognized within the jurisdiction you live. And I hate regulation. I hate saying that, but also regulation's good to protect your money. Okay. And that's the same, especially for crypto. And I said the same thing earlier. If you decide to go on the unregulated path on Uniswap, that's your choice. But do acknowledge that there is risk there where you can get scammed because the regulator's not there to protect you. So there's that. I don't know if that answers your question, Predrag, but you've
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
know.
But
Oh, go
what
ahead.
I see is basically uh, all governments want to have to they want to push their CBD DC for
Yeah,
each of countries, and they all focus on to make everything that is in crypto bad unless it's ours.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's I don't know
So
if you've seen.
that's the thing that like SEC can um, basically do the exercise whatever they are told by the government of like cut Kraken now, cut Binance, cut FTX, cut something that is going to, let's say, show up in next 3 months, only to say, okay, only US DC is the best one.
Yeah, well, as you know, me and you talk a lot. Um, but this is the headline I should have mentioned earlier. This just came out today. Okay. So the IMF generally agree crypto shouldn't be legal tender. What does that mean? That's telling you that the top dog, the cleanest overlord globally of all the countries, of all the banks or central banks within those countries are being indirectly regulated by these guys, IMF, the International Monetary Fund. They
Yeah,
know they know that crypto's a threat. That's why they don't like countries like El Salvador that step out of the system saying, um, we will we're gonna now make Bitcoin legal tender. And that's why this headline comes about, because you get countries like Sri Lanka and now Pakistan that are begging for money with the IMF. So they have to play by those rules uh, uh, and restrictions put out by the IMF. So now the IMF saying, no, you can't touch crypto because, as I said, Bitcoin and the like is a true threat to their legacy financial systems, right? So that's why this headline came out. That's number one, and then there's this one as well. Is uh, the BIS, which is the bank, um, the uh, the Bank of International Settlement. This is again the in parallel with the IMF. Good old, and you're gonna get more of this as well when it comes to online, where everything's gonna have a paywall. Let me just pull this up where we don't have these paywalls. Okay, so this is the Bank of International Settlement, um, and what these guys do is they do they're the overseers of all the banks. So this is another global organization that oversees the banks, every single bank out there, and they're part of this organization. So when a bank wants to do a transaction with a bank in Saudi Arabia or a bank through Germany or whatever, it's going to go through the BIS, okay? Because they're the ones that put out all those standard protocols. So now they're talking about, oh no, crypto's going to change all that. Oh, we should be threatened. So this guy's going all anti-crypto as well. So what you're saying, Predrag, is exactly true, but yet you get companies like Strike that come in and offer a new way to transact on crypto, and it's like now this battle between companies like Strike that have to be friendly to the Davos crowd, basically, and the BIS and the IMF, right? So there's that balance. Now, where it go, I don't know. How will it affect the CBDCs? But the question you have to ask yourself, if you have money in the bank or wherever you store it, right now, last year proved that most people lost 20% of their total savings. Okay.
yeah.
So, number one goal when it comes to investing is not to make money. Your number one goal is to preserve what you have. Okay. That's number one. Number two is to make return from that. So, the only way to preserve what you have is to put it into something that's stable. Okay, if you keep it in the fiat system in your country or under the CBC, you're now going to be restricted. Just again, ask the Lebanese, ask the Venezuelans, ask whatever other country, Nigeria. They're restricted now.
Yeah.
So you got to take your cash and move it to something to be on a decentralized um, exchange, like a Uniswap. Now, is it safe? No. But again, if you watch that private video I put out, there's options where you can have a hardware device for cold storage using a ledger device, like as I
Yeah.
said before. So you can use that. Now, is it protected?
Basically, you're mimicking uh, safe in your home with cash in it, and
Basically, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But they're going to regulate this. Like when you cross the border and they go, so are you crossing the border with more than $10,000? You go, no. But you got one of these devices in your pocket and you got, let's say, $20,000 equivalent, but it's in crypto. This is where
yeah.
the gray area comes. But legally, you are going to be now lying to that border patrol saying, no, I don't, but I have a ledger device, right?
Hmm.
So you can store your money not this is the thing that people don't understand about ledgers is that with ledger it's a device, it's a window onto the blockchain of wherever you're going to store your cash, right? So basically it's just a convenient way of being able to access your cash on whatever blockchain, if it's Ethereum, Bitcoin, or whatever else. This device will make it easier for you because when you set up your your wallet that's stored on these devices, basically what it does, it will then tell you, here's your 12 what's it called, the seed keywords as your backup to get access to your money on the blockchain. So in essence, when you put money onto a blockchain, let's say coin, right? But you're going to store that called digital wallet on the Trezor, or sorry, on the Ledger or Trezor. And when you cross the border, you can throw this thing away, okay? And you notice the 12 keyword seed words that you need to get access. You can then, once you cross in that country, have another ledger device and you restore that wallet with using all those 12 keywords and you have your back access to your account or your money on the blockchain. So that's how you get around that. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but that's where the governments are going to control your ability to get access to what you store on the blockchain. Because in my country, by law, I'm supposed to register all my wallet IDs if I do crypto. So all my wallet IDs have to be registered with the government. And the thing is with Ledger, I do believe this feature may be taken out when you create a new wallet. Let's say on Bitcoin, you are able to get a new digital wallet ID dynamically. So if you throw that wallet away, you can go back and reactivate your amount that you have stored on um, on the blockchain and then just give it back the 12 keywords and then you get yourself a brand new wallet ID. So there's ways to get around it, but is it safe? Probably not. And there's a huge gray area here, but these are just the options that are currently available to you to store money on a blockchain. And people are storing like millions of dollars on these blockchains. And as I said, they're restricting you now. You can't walk around with a wallet stored on, let's say, a ledger, and they ask you that $10,000 cash question, and you say no, but you have more than that on a ledger. Now you just lied to them. You now broken the law, and voila, you know. So whatever other laws they come about to circumvent this stuff, they'll try. But I don't know. But I do believe that this ledger device will be eventually banned worldwide because of these things, because of the ways to get around it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm way off topic. I know, Predrag, but it's just this is one of the other areas I covered in that private video. Did I answer kind of your question at all?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Yeah. So as I said, with private equity, it's good, but if you want to keep it safe, it's regulated, and then you may get limited access to it down the road once the CBDC comes in. I don't know. The best if you're questioning these sort of things, as I said, you're best to go over to that podcast I talked about with what the UK is proposing. This one right here, um, because that one, and I put it again in the chat, and you can go through that, and it goes right into detail. And that one, oddly enough, that CBDC will not be built on blockchain. That will be built on some kind of database. That's what they're proposing. So, um, what was the link? What is the link to that private video that you keep talking about? Ah, yes, the private video. Yeah, it's in the chat. It's in the chat. Yeah, you'll see it. This one right here. I'll just pull it up here. It's in the chat. This one that ends in private in the URL. You'll see that video private. That one's the one I'm referring to. And as I said, if you want to watch, the passcode is lowercase CBDC. So all lowercase CBDC. So it is password protected, and you get that. It's an unlisted video. It's about an hour long. Kind of goes on about what I've already talked about. Here it's more live oriented. So anybody else got any questions at all? I mean, we're essentially going into an era where nothing will be secure, nothing will be safe. You may not get privacy. You may get restricted on your money. I don't know if you guys have heard about the bail-ins, when a bank will come in and take money out of your account. You got to protect yourself against that. They talk about gold and having gold coins or gold something, gold storage, or something gold physical. There's times in 1932, I believe it was, when the U.S. government said, "We want your gold. By law, you can't hold gold. We want it, and we'll give you fair market price for it." So there's that. I think it was in sometime in the 1800s where the U.S. government again said you're not allowed to hold gold. If you do, we will shoot you. I've got photos in my archive, photos on various places I've gone and traveling to, where you see physically old signs that shows that. Let me just see if I can find one. Uh, let's see what I can find here. So these are from uh, yeah, I'm not gonna spend the time on it, but right here, gold seized all citizens' gold in the 1930s. So this can happen again. So if you're listening to that, gold will be the answer to all your problems. No, because the governments will seize it. If you have cash in your bank, they will seize that as well with the bail-ins. So I'm not talked about that. So the only way to really protect your money is to have it the um, on the on a blockchain and anonymously too, unfortunately. And that may be legal too. Relief to financial institution on the brink of failure by requiring cancellation of debts owed to creditors and depositors. That's not true. Let me see here. Uh, so basically, what they do, if there's a banking crisis, which is kind of happening and will happen, or it could be manufactured for all we know, they will be able to go into your account if you have cash in a bank, and take money out of your account without your approval. Um, Instead of bailing out the bank from the government, they'll bail it in from the customer savings, and that happened in Cyprus during the last financial crisis. So this is happening. Um, Let me just see, Cyprus bail in 2012. What they did, they took if you had um, an account larger than was it 65,000 or 85,000 euro, yeah, they took your anything above that. And how it worked was if you were a local and you had no more than 65 or 85,000 in your account, you're okay. If you were a local. So if you're a foreigner with having money in your capital in Cyprus, in a Cyprus bank, which was mostly Russians, they lost their money. And yeah, especially with the oligarchs. So that's what happened to them back in here in during the last financial crisis. So this is all real. This is all history. And the only way to really protect your money with outside of CBDC is you gotta figure out a safe way to store it somewhere on a blockchain. And again, if you watch that video, you'll know what I'm referring to. You guys got any other questions at all? Appreciate all the conversation here. If you want, I can unmute whoever. Just let me know. Anybody? And as I said, I just started working on these on the CBDC, and I thought, oh, well, there's this kind of false misconception on dividend income. So I thought I'm going to do a webinar on that. And the other one is these startups as well. And I just wanted to talk about my experience with those and knowing where to truly invest money because I know a person that works in one of these private equity firms and they promise you a certain amount in return. Minimum that you put in is $30,000 and it's locked in for 11 months. And it's locked in for 11 months and you don't see your money. It's the same thing with crypto staking as well. Swap only allowed trading of tokens, not not Boing CS. Not sure what you mean, Long. If you want to unmute yourself. Bitcoins. Yeah. As I said in my private video, Uniswap is built on Ethereum, so you will not get Bitcoin on there. It's only Ethereum and other coins as well. But there's some good ones out there. Let me just show you here. But most of it's in Ethereum. Let me just see here. Let's see. But yeah, you're coming in from the world of uh, Bitcoin, namely. The only one you'll get in there for Bitcoin is WBTC, the wrap BTC. Everything else is a lot of it's junk, to be honest. But there's some good coins in here. And what makes it more legitimate and trustworthy is if you just stay in the world of USDC, you'll be okay. So your question is Uniswap seems to be similar to DXY. It is, but as I mentioned about DXDY, I posted that in my video as well. That is owned by a consortium of investors. It's no different than a decentral exchange, but it still has the creeps as backers. Brian Armstrong of Coinbase, Andreessen, another one. And I would not get involved in DXDY because once you get those guys coming in, you're going to get the manipulation, the market making against you. You'll get all that wonky stuff. Like Coinbase, they just got rid of an employee that was caught for insider trading on Coinbase. Okay, so that's happening on Coinbase. So again, why would you want to be on DXDY where no one owns Uniswap? There's no central organization that owns Uniswap. It's similar to Bitcoin. So that's an important element, I would imagine. Any other questions at all? I mean, I cover that kind of in that video. And I kind of expanded on this on the different topics with the ledger and all that. But I'm just giving you options here, okay? Like I'm not saying do it, but just be aware that there's always risk with certain things. But at this other hand, if you just stay put, you're also at risk as well because, as I said, no privacy restrictions. They could come and take your money with a bail. Who knows where it's going to go? But I think it's going to get really bad, really bad the way it's looking. I wish I could be a little more positive on it. But the two options to escape it is get into a country that's crypto friendly, um, and that acknowledges that Bitcoin legal tender and doesn't fight the system, doesn't fight you, doesn't control you, and or in my case, go into a low tax region. In my case, a British colony. A good example would be Canary Islands, or in my case, for the poor people, Isle of Man, Jersey, Guernsey, and so on. So there's options if you hold a British passport. South Americans do not seem to be safe. High crime rate. Yeah, yeah, that's true. The closest one you'll get for safety is Uruguay. Uruguay is pretty quiet, is the least problematic and most safe. Who knows if that what will happen? Another thing, and I went to actually an event put on by this bank, BMO, um, and the guy that was putting it on, not putting it on, but he was uh, runs a hedge fund of alternative uh, ETFs. Him and his girlfriend a week after that were going down to Uruguay to check it out. So that tells you that the wealthy and these guys are very, very, very wealthy. They're seven, eight, nine digit wealthy. And they were going to Uruguay, and there were a whole bunch. I was at a table of topic of that discussion of like people, and that was just over a year ago. People were checking out Uruguay, so that's something to look into, as well as you're basically a boat ride to Buenos Aires, so you can still get the city life with Buenos Aires. And actually, people are talking about Argentina as well, even though it's uh, kind of a socialist, but it's not safe. But I don't know. I mean, it might be safer if you're looking at maybe the government, your government in Canada, U.S. maybe want you to be destitute. I don't know, but Uruguay is something I would look at. And then Dubai, not so much anymore. When I saw that news on how they want to uh, literally ban uh, zero cash and Monero, I said, okay, there's a problem there. So here, February 13th, Dubai effectively banned privacy coins. Severe blow for the industry. Zcash and Monero gone. And this is Dubai, that's supposed to be the free country with zero tax. So it makes me question that as well. CBDCs everywhere, China and Russia also. Yeah, that's good that you saw the headline. Well, look at El Salvador, okay? El Salvador is the one that's the trailblazer for this. BTC is now legal tender, yes. So these are the countries that are setting the world standard. And certain other countries. I think Saint Kitts was another one that announced it as well. Um, yeah, BTC made. Was it Bitcoin Cash? Doesn't matter which one it is. It's a crypto. Um, Bitcoin Cash may be legal tender in Saint Kitts, and the reason for that is because of that guy Roger Veres is his name. He lives there. He's the guy who moved down there and was the guy who started um, Bitcoin Cash, and he moved down there and he was really, really pushing it. Um, yeah, here. Yeah, and another thing is Brazil, of all of them, were looking at making Bitcoin legal tender, which was bizarre. Um, so there's that, and Argentina and Bitcoin, sorry, Argentina and Brazil are looking at merging their currencies and also making it legal tender. And when you get a big country like Brazil doing that, that's a big deal. Will you go offshore islands? Where will the place be? I am looking at Isle of Man, and Isle of Man is independent. Actually, Isle of Man is a country that started all parliaments. It's not England, it's Isle of Man. It's the oldest parliament in the world. And I've done my research. They have a 20% income tax to all local income when you're there. It's very, very safe. And They have zero income on foreign. And the benefit is that it's still the medical system, the NHS, you can still get tied into that as well. So that's a benefit of the British old colonial system, and many people may not like to hear that, but oh well, we gotta think sometimes think for ourselves, right? But this is a good option as well, or may become of all places, Brazil may make Bitcoin legal tender, even though it's a socialist country. But I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just the world's basically turned upside down and everything's going wonky. So, but yeah, that I mean, but the thing is it's a good thing if Bitcoin does become legal tender in Brazil, because what that means is now other countries may go and do the same thing. I don't want to say, but Russia, China, not China, but Russia, they're on and off. I wouldn't say that's obviously a great country to go to. But again, it just for everybody out there, it's an option. I'm not saying I would promote it myself, but the BRIC nations, the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa will be a major threat. Yeah, not saying it's an option, but they're looking at making they're on and off. You just can't trust what Russia's looking at. One minute they may say it, and then they may not. No, not to live, but I don't know. I wouldn't offer that as an option, obviously. But if one day Russia becomes a better country and a true democracy, and they still stick to their guns on crypto, if they do decide that's an option. But yeah, you're right. There are a few countries out there that don't support that, and that's all due to the IMF and the BIS, as I shown earlier. But right now, St. Kitts is an interesting one. And they do that because they're very poor countries. So they want to build out new parallel economies in those countries. So one way they do it is by building their economy off of something like Bitcoin. And obviously, you know about El Salvador with the volcano bonds. I mean, they built schools off of Bitcoin in El Salvador. Um, Yeah, again, this is all from Long. St. Kitts is a bit famous for selling passports. Yeah, and you got to also realize that these are I can't say I've never been there, but these would be considered high crime regions. So there is that. But you never know. Let's say if Costa Rica did it, what would happen? I mean, there's a very safe country in Costa Rica. Or what happens if Thailand decides to do it? They're very I mean, they're not poor countries. They're fairly uh, well financed. They got decent economies. If you get countries like Costa Rica or Thailand that do Bitcoin, people will, or Panama as another example. These people will, smart people that are woken up on all this will go there in droves, right? And Yeah, that's just I'm watching this very closely. But my first step will be Isle of Man in my case, and I am looking at Costa Rica, Thailand, because it's not just about CBDC. It's about a better way of life. It's warmer. Your healthcare is cheaper, and so on and so forth. So I've been watching quite a few on Costa Rica as well as Thailand. It seems to avoid CPC. Best way is to move. Exactly, that is the best way. As it said, I can show you my law in Canada. Where are you living, Long? Um, where do you live, Long? I can probably tell you uh, what you need to be aware of. So let me just show you again. This is part of my video, so I'm saving you time to watch the video. Yeah, you're in Belarus of all places. That's okay, hand. So basically, when it comes to Canada, they put so many restrictions on here. Let me just see if I can find it. Okay, this is what they want out of you. You got to keep records and bookkeeping. So what they want out of you is right here, this one. A description of the transaction and the other party and their cryptocurrency web wallet address. Okay? Digital wallet records and crypto address. This is Canada, our tax authority. This is where we're at right now. Um, a purchase or the transfer, the date of the transaction. I mean, they want to put all of this overburden uh, on you. It's insane, right? And they're going to kill off their economy and innovation investment because of it. And I watch the currencies all the time, and I will tell you, the Canadian dollar is suffering because of all this. And yet, we'll get our so-called next leader, the conservative guy. He's going to be a little bit better, but not much. Okay, so Long, where are you originally from? So you're in Belarus. I find that fascinating. Are you originally from Belarus? Um, yeah, I mean, we could get into the politics of this Ohio derailment. I don't think that would be appropriate here. I mean, I have my theories on that. But when it comes to, yeah, Southern Ontario, where I live, is the fact that they're anticipating might be up to 1,000 kilometers from the zone in East Palestine, East Palestine, Ohio. Yeah, not the pollution, it's the afterfall of what it will do to the soil. Uh, it'll destroy all the farming and chemical of the soil. If this is true, it's after to destroy the quality of the soil. Anyways, yeah. So this is what's going globally. Oh, so you're from China but living in Belarus. Very interesting. Yeah, and obviously you know fully well about what the social credit is in China. How long you been out of China is probably the next bet. Yeah, I'm gonna if you want to unmute yourself, Long, we can get into a discussion here.
Uh, Hello.
Go ahead, Long. Go ahead.
Hi. I'll try. Okay. Yes, I'm from China, and I've been here for been in Belarus for, let me see, around 4 months.
And how long you've been out of China now?
4 months.
So this is your first country. So what was the big reason you left China?
What's the reason that I left China?
Yeah.
I just think that for the moment, China, at the time, I think it seems better to live in other countries for a while,
Are you
because
try- Oh, go ahead.
about choosing a country to live, you have to pay attention to what is happening. It just seems to me that probably I should, in the next few years, I should stay in other countries and went back to China in the future when I think it is better. The time is better for me to live in China, because I don't know. I don't know. Um, I think we need to have good luck. It's hard to tell which country will be best for the next few years. I think.
So would you call yourself
I
now?
think
Oh, go ahead.
I think it's just it's not that China has problem. I just think that all countries have problems. Every country you look at, there are some problems. So you don't even know where you should be. So yeah, I
Well,
left China.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I left China, but it may not be a good choice because you don't even know which country is okay.
Yeah. No, I agree. Um, but I mean, you have firsthand knowledge of what it has been like up until 4 months ago, what it's like with the social credit system. I mean, is that the sort of thing that would kind of spook you being in China?
Social credit. Actually, I'm not. very aware of social credit system. But in China, there's a credit system for if you take a loan, and if you default on your loans, then there's a credit for that. But
I'm referring to like social behavior.
I'm not aware of social credit system. I'm not aware of it. I think most Chinese are not aware of social credit system.
So you don't think the population understands about the need to be uh, behaving well, to be acknowledged, to be above board the social, so that they can go, as you say, get loans, travel, and so on.
I just think that most people are not aware of social credit system,
Okay.
But it is something. There's a credit for taking a loan. If you have bad credit, then you have trouble taking a loan. That's most people are aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think your next move will be?
So so here currently, obviously, there's a conflict between NATO countries and Russia's. So actually, here I don't know if probably here is not very safe, but so is everywhere else, like UK, Canada, United States. I saw all kinds of problems there. Like in the United States, the train derailments in many cities, and especially the Ohio one, the pollution went to Canada. The Canada, some big cities are affected. So, for example, if I live in Canada, I don't even know if the food is okay. And also the conflict between the Russia and NATO countries. So will Russia do something? Will NATO countries do something? So I don't know. I don't even know where I can be.
Yeah, I mean, but how do you sustain yourself? Are you living off of online and that sort of thing?
I think I can invest. I invest. I try to do something online, and I invest at the same time.
And how do you find the cost of living in Belarus a lot? Is it cheaper than being in China?
Wow, it's similar. It's similar. Actually, food quality here seems good. Yeah, but I'm aware that 32 years ago, around 30 years, there was Chernobyl event here.
Yeah.
But the food, actually, life here is good. Everything is normal at the moment.
Right.
And
are you supposed to pay tax when you live in Belarus, or are you aware if you would are responsible to pay tax? Because if you're not, you could be living the perfect life right now, as you said.
Well, even in China, a lot of people don't pay tax. But in China, the tax system is not as strict as at the West, but it will get stricter in the future because they have something coming up. There are new policies in the future in China, so it is something to consider. So in the future, in the past, Chinese don't pay attention to tax. A lot of Chinese evade taxes, but in the future, probably they have to consider, for example, offshore options. I don't know much.
Well, it sounds like you know quite a bit. But being in Belarus, like, what's your end goal? Like, are you want to be in a happy country and live a decent life in another country? Or are you trying to get in a Western country, or like, what's your end goal?
Actually, I've been following the news for a long time. I don't think a lot of Chinese will know what I know because for me, I have been paying attention to the news. So what I noticed is that Western countries, just that there are many problems with Western countries at the moment. But when we talk about this, it's about politics. So recently, there's a famous journalist who won the Pulitzer Prize, and he won a Pulitzer Prize for exposing some events in the past. But he recently wrote a post which mentioned that United States attacked destroyed the Nord Stream pipeline.
Right.
So yeah, so the people in the U.S. want war, and Russia also, of course, they won. they were also. There are some people in Russia also want war, actually, but Putin probably don't want as much. So basically, the conflict will escalate, and it seems that if the conflict escalates, then Western countries will be affected more. It seems to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
So knowing what you know, and probably the rest of us know, I mean, you're one of the rare ones that stepped out of your country, went to a place like Belarus, of you probably don't know a lot about. So you took that risk. You're happy there so far. Where do you see yourself going next? Like, where do you see yourself landing, I guess?
I think it's probably because I don't like always moving around, because you have to buy everything again.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to make hard choices. Like, for example, in Belarus, maybe I can go to Russia, but I don't know Russia is good, because Russia is also similar to Western countries in some way. Also, I heard that regulation in Russia. I heard that the police are corrupt in Russia, but I don't know if it is true.
Yeah.
Also, Russia have similar plans. Russia also have CBDCs. Russia also have a lot of other things that Western countries also have, like the COVID mandate. Russia has something similar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the benefit of Russia is that it's big. It is a very big country. Maybe if someone wants to find a place to hide, they can find the place. But I don't really know.
Right. So have you looked at other places outside of Belarus and Russia? Like, have you looked at other options?
Well, Eastern Europe, there are some countries in Eastern Europe, and
Are they part of
Albania.
Are they part of the European Union, or
No. They are Central Asia, but the climate in Central Asia is bad. It's too dry.
right?
And Eastern Europe, Romania is EU, and Albania. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Albania, yeah, Albania.
Albania.
Mhm.
East Romania, Eastern Europe. South America. The problem with South America is that, as I have mentioned, the crime rate is quite high. So I don't know what it is like to live in South America.
What about other Asian countries?
Asian countries, Thailand. Yeah, the favorite, one of the popular one is Thailand. Yeah, a lot of Chinese, a lot of Westerners, they all go to Thailand.
Have you looked at anywhere in Africa at all, or is that just something too dicey or too?
So by my standards, I think none of these countries are okay. Like Thailand, China, Western countries, Russia, they all have similar plans. They probably all have CBDCs, or they all have all the pandemic policies. And Africa could be worse, because Africa is, for example, Bill Gates has been doing experiments in Africa a long time ago. So it's easy for them to do anything there. I don't know.
Have you considered countries like let's say India or Sri Lanka?
Oh, India, impossible. India is too bad. Tropical climate is not good. Climate is too hot, and you need air conditioner.
Right.
Also, there are mosquitoes. I don't know if it is common, but I heard that mosquitoes can carry disease, but
Yeah.
maybe it's not very common. So maybe it is not a problem.
We had a Tika virus a few years ago. That was a concern. Yeah, Tika, Tika. That was a concern, but
Also, in South America, one thing that I heard, Bill Gates, he has a mosquito factory in Colombia, in the capital Colombia, and there's a blog post that he wrote, which mentioned that the factory produce millions of mosquitoes per year. I don't know if that is a problem. Maybe he just says things to scare people, but maybe it's not as as bad as we imagine to be. But that what Bill Gates wrote in his blog.
Right.
Yeah, there's a blog. Bill Gates has a blog. The domain name is Gate Notes. Yeah, I recently opened it and I read it.
Okay. Gates Notes.
Yeah, Gate Notes. Gates Notes. That is his blog. And if you search mosquitoes, you will find that he wrote a blog post about his mosquito factory. And so basically, his idea is that you use mosquitoes to inject people with vaccines. Probably that is his idea. I don't think it is a good idea, but you search on Google. Yeah, you search on Google mosquito factory Gates Notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you financially see yourself? Are you trying to live off of cryptocurrency?
Of course, you have to store some currency in crypto, in blockchain. Yes, you're right.
But is crypto widely accepted in Belarus?
I'm not sure because my Russian is I'm a beginner in Russian, so I don't speak Russian yet.
Okay.
But yeah, people here probably trade currencies because I saw there are cryptocurrency trading groups, and yeah, there's an exchange.
But what I'm asking is when you walk in the street, I get lots of photos of restaurants and stores, and they'll put up a little symbol of Bitcoin accepted here. You find a lot of that?
Well, no. People here use cash a lot. Actually, there are not many Westerners here, but I do see one Westerners living in the city. He said he will not go back to United States. It's very rare. I don't see Westerners here.
So, is there a big Chinese community in Belarus that you find that you can leverage off of?
Actually, in the capital of Belarus, there are probably more than 10,000 Chinese in the capital. I'm not in the capital. I'm in a small city. So here in this small city of Belarus, probably there are a few hundreds Chinese only.
Okay. So you tap into that community and you're
well, actually, those Chinese, they don't live here for very long. They just study here for a year and they will leave Belarus.
Okay, so it's like a transfer point. It's from
actually a lot of Chinese go here just to study, and after they finish the study, and they will go back to China. That's what most people do. So there wouldn't be a community here probably.
Gotcha. No, it's fascinating. I like talking to people like yourself. That you're like I said, you're speaking because you're there. You're experiencing living there and kind of like.
I think life here is very good until something happens. I don't know if anything will happen. I don't know.
Right. But like comparative to China versus where you are, would you say you could see yourself being happier in Belarus than in China?
There are pros and cons for each. I think there are benefits for living in China, but the problem is that you have predictions about the future. Like for the next few years, do you think China is good? I have to make decisions based on that.
Yeah.
So, for example, if there's any kind of war, then there will be drafting.
I
Like,
see. Right.
yeah. So in China, I don't know, because China has huge population. Maybe I'm not sure if this is something that I should worry about in China, because China has huge population. But recently, they have a rule that changed the reserved military force, the drafting for reserved military force. The age changed from 35 to 60 years old. So
Yeah, like I'm my grandpappy's Polish, so I'm
uh,
entitled to a Polish passport. And with
uh,
Poland being right on the border there, they
uh,
just exactly did that, raised it to I think over 60, and I have to hold off until all is closed off until I get my so I can get my
uh,
passport. I'm in the same boat.
I think uh, actually this is something. Yeah, some people think everything is normal. A lot of people have actually don't think there will be a world war. But for people who believe it, I think Western country, if you living, if your passport is Western passport, you'll be more worried, because there are not a lot of people in Western countries. So if there's a war, then yeah, they will they will need more people.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I should worry about the
No,
situation in China. I don't
I
know.
wouldn't worry, but when they got the nuclear missiles ready to go, I don't think we need to worry about people fighting in conventional wars. I think we'll be more worried about nuclear weapons than anything else.
Nuclear? Uh, well, when it comes to nuclear attack, this is this is very controversial, because there's both sides. There are people who think that nuclear attack are not real. They are just media use nuclear as a um, propaganda to scare people. There are some people who think like that, and there are people who
That's
believe
true.
that
That's
nuclear
true.
weapons will destroy the world. There will be nuclear winter. There are
Yeah.
both sides, so it's a bit controversial.
Yeah. I mean, that's fascinating to hear your story. I'm gonna try, if Predrag or Karen have any questions that they want to ask you. I think
Mhm.
if Predrag or Karen, you want to ask anything, or if not, you can just type in the chat and I'll ask on your behalf. But it's rare for me to talk to somebody like yourself, who's from mainland China and then living abroad like you are. Quite good. Frederick, it looks like you're ready to go. No? No, guess not.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah. I only have access because we're just so you know, Long. I
Mhm.
have I live in a pretty predominant Chinese area now in Toronto. I think Toronto has the second highest population of mainland Chinese outside of
Yeah. A lot of
China.
Chinese go there.
Yeah. And my area in Toronto in the northeast part is I'd say up to two-thirds Chinese for sure, my Chinese neighbor. So I kind of talk to her about what goes on in China and the whole nine yards. But just I'm sure you've heard about the infiltration of the Chinese in our elections, and I'm pretty sure you've heard about the Chinese police stations here in Toronto. They've been identified not very far from me because there's so many Chinese in my area, and I think that's a real thing, and blah 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 blah, and you know, yeah, I don't know where that goes. I don't know what that means, but it's I'm kind of exposed to it.
I think yeah, there are a lot of Chinese in Canada, but the problem is that the Chinese think different. And actually, for the population, Chinese population that live in Canada, they probably think very similar. It depends on the demographics. The Chinese in Canada definitely will think very similar, but they may not be correct, because I don't think everyone will can see the truth easily, because um, nowadays the media, um, so people actually a lot of Chinese don't believe in the official media of China, but they actually believe in Western media. But a lot of Chinese, I think, it's just a lot of Chinese are brainwashed by Western media. I think this is especially true in Western countries. Yeah, but regarding what you mentioned about the police station or infiltration, I don't know. I don't know much about. I also cannot verify.
No one can.
So this is something that I don't know about. But
Yeah,
I know that there are a lot of Chinese who, when they don't believe in official media of China, but they deeply believe in Western media. So after they left China, they become brainwashed by the Western medias.
Well, in my neighborhood, just two things. We have Falun Gong in my area. We have small protests, like you wouldn't notice them. We have that. Are you aware of Epoch News? EPOCH News? I'll pull up their website.
Epoch News. Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys.
Epoch Times.
Yeah, that's right. Epoch Times, right. They started not far from me. And at first they were very anti CCP, I guess, but they were wrapping it with regular mainstream news as part of the newspaper. So that's from my area. Like that's how predominant my area is for both the Falun Gong as well as the Epoch News. So, I don't know if that's a good thing or not for me, but it's just that's how I'm familiar with a lot of this. So, anybody else got any questions at all? Oh, I was going to ask you before, where you live right now? Are you close to the Ukrainian border at all?
I think I live close to the Russian border. Yeah, of course. If I live in Belarus, I should not live near either Ukraine or Poland. Currently I'm near Russian border.
I'm only asking because if you've seen a lot of, dare I say, military activity with the green trucks and the little green men running around where you are.
Well, where everything's normal. Nobody is in panic mode.
So
Nobody is.
You've not seen any form of military movements at all.
I see now. Most people here do not panic. I think I will be the most. I will be the one that most panic about what is happening, because I do pay a lot of attention to the news, but most people don't pay attention to news, so
right.
They don't even care.
Yeah, it's in the West. We call that. It sounds like you're based. Yeah, it's meaning that you know what's going on. Like you're not like a normie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Like I'm just, as I said, I'm very fascinated by your by your experience from what you're telling me. Like with the crypto and all that, and coming from mainland China into where you're at now.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think that in the future? I'm talking about location. So do you think that in the future, Canada, if you were to find a place to hide, you can find a place in Canada? Do you think you can find a place to live in Canada without all the problems?
See, I don't know your history, but if you're coming in from questionable on the border, let's say criminality, and you come into Canada, you will probably most likely get flagged. It's pretty surprising what the border will know about you that you don't know. But once you get here, yeah, there's tons of places.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'm over pessimistic, because it seems to me that, like for example, in Canada they have CBDCs, they have. Yeah, but this is controversial. They have pandemic policies. They have CBDCs. They have even the train. Recently, the train derailment and polluted the lake. So, yeah, but you're right. Because it's big, it is not. densely populated, so you can definitely find a place.
The thing is, in Canada, getting here could be one issue. But as I said, like I'm leaving Canada, so that should say a lot in itself because we have to deal with. I'm sure you know about the trucker convoy and what that went on with.
Yeah, right.
On top of the threat of all kinds of things that I'm not comfortable with. So I'm leaving among many others. A lot of people are leaving because it's getting expensive here. The taxes is too much, da 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 da. So I'm probably no different than what you are. And there's very few places to go.
Yeah.
And the thing is, as I said earlier about being, I hate saying it, about being British, it enables you to have some options that most people won't have. And as I said, when you look at countries like Isle of Man,
Mhm.
uh, probably Jersey, Guernsey, uh, yeah, you can do okay, but you
I
have to have
wonder.
a British passport.
I wonder. Do you pay attention to the vaccine policy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is controversial because some people do believe in vaccines, some people don't.
I
So
don't. I know.
I mean, the problem is that, yeah, let's just ignore all other problems. Suppose there's a new pandemic, and in the future, you don't even know which country will have less strict vaccine policy. I don't know how hard it is to avoid it. In China, I never took. In China, nobody forced me to do it when I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was okay. But in the future, when I saw the news headline, it's just scary because the WHO, they have a pandemic treaty, and so a lot of countries are listening to WHO, and so if you're a member of WHO, and yeah, if you are in UK, it's still hard to tell which country will give you more freedom, because at least you want to have a choice.
Yeah. I'm pulling up a website here that you might want to know about this because uh let's see here, the IITA. So I can't remember the name of the organization, but it's the organization that all the airlines are part of for
Mhm.
international travel.
Yeah,
And
in the future, because vaccine is associated with passport. They have vaccine passport. If you don't
well,
take the vaccine,
it
you can't even
actually
take the plane. Yeah.
it gets worse than that because the ITAA
Uh-huh.
is not sure if it's this one, but what they're doing is they're gonna have a passport put out by the or a app, Android or Apple iOS, that will be associated with all your identity on this
Mhm.
app. So when Border Patrol, you go from country to country to country, all they have to do is pull up your ITAA profile and get access to your digital passport as well as your vaccine status. And that's basically every country will have that in place. And I'm just trying to verify that, but I do believe.
Also, this also is related to CDBCs because if you, for example, in the future, suppose CDBC are widely used, and if you refuse to take the vaccine, then you cannot use the money. Your account, yeah, that's what the rumor says. Yeah, but it
Well,
has not become the reality. Yeah.
it's not a rumor. We had an app called the Can app, um, and that was an app that this is just issued from the Canadian government, ArriveCan, sorry, and your identity and your vaccine status would be stored on that app. And when you come back into Canada, or anybody coming to Canada had to have that app, and all your documentation and your vaccine status would be on that app. Without that, you weren't able to get into the country. So they've gotten rid of the app for now.
There will be no have diseases. Actually, there are a lot of people who actually deeply believe in vaccines. So if everybody take it, if you don't, and there will be social pressure, and they will report you, and you'll be in trouble. I think that's something that I don't know how likely is it to happen, but it seems likely because actually I'm aware there are a lot of people who deeply believe in vaccines, and also when there's a new pandemic in the future, planned, whether it's planned or not, if there's a new pandemic in the future and there will be a lot of people get ill, and there will be social pressure also. People
I
have
mean,
different beliefs.
that's already in the making. If I could pull up the app, I would. But I think it's ITAA, where it's a global app, and everybody that's about to travel on a plane will have to upload all of their ID as well as their vaccine status to the app, and that's
Mhm.
centrally stored wherever. And all the border, plane travel, everybody traveling in the travel industry globally will have access to your information before you get on a plane, and that
Mhm.
will be a requirement. I
Well,
think that's
I don't
I
know
think
how
that's
soon will that be, but
well, the app already exists, just a matter of adopting it and making it an international requirement. That's why this app was created. It's one of these international travel associations that every country is part of. It's out of Switzerland, and I did download it. I looked at it. If it's ITA, I don't know, but it's international travel,
I think
and
probably
it's
you can avoid CDBCs by go to the least developed countries, just the very
yeah,
poor developing countries, because they don't have the infrastructure. But
yeah,
the problem with those countries is that, yeah,
safety,
firstly there are some countries like that, there will be higher crime rate.
right,
Uh,
right, right.
it's not clear whether it will be safe to live there. So yeah, if you go to poor countries, um, I don't know if it is a solution, but if you go there,
Yeah.
it's it is also not safe.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Um, but unfortunately, I think this will become an eventual uh, control thing, and a
Mhm.
requirement on a phone. And I mean, the Canadian government's one of the first countries in the world to bring in this CAN app,
Mhm.
and it's just a matter of unifying all these countries to be part of whatever app it'll be. And everything, all your digital ID, your vaccine status will be centrally stored on this thing. So that's another thing that nobody talks about, but I do know it's happening.
So,
I've down
for example, if you are in the Isle of Man, so yeah, you maybe still it's not easy to predict what their policies will be in that island.
right.
It's still one of the unpredictable things.
That's right. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, if it's crime, that's a problem.
Mhm.
But another way they control you, and it's been demonstrated the last 2, 3 years, is the vaccine.
Mhm.
And if you're not up to date with your vaccine or your global medicine, as I call it, yeah,
Mhm.
you're a bad boy, and you're going to be disassociated from all the social access to this and that. We went through that in Ontario, Canada. We weren't allowed into restaurants. We weren't allowed into sport, any kind of event. We were not allowed in for, I think it lasts about 9, 10 months. So we've already gone through that, right? So I just don't want to have this thing. I don't know what it is in my body. You know what I
In
mean?
China, uh, hello. Yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. The Canada situation. Yeah, the truck. I heard about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the
Mm.
trucker convoy is another one where it was scary because you had the trucker convoy and then the protest, and what happened was we had people like giving an instance, a single mom, she donated money to one of these trucker convoys, and because she donated money, she was her account was frozen because she donated money to the one of the charity websites. Another
Yes.
person, as an example, there was a Facebook group, and she just said click like on the protest, and she had police show up at her door, uh,
Uh-huh.
telling her, giving her a leaflet saying what her rights were when it came to protests.
Mhm.
So what you hear is a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. It's real. Um, and this is happening in my own province where I live. And the trucker convoy was the biggest reveal of what's going on with financial, social, and if you step out of line, this is what will happen to you. And for me, I'm kind of, because I don't want that vaccine thing. I'm living
Mhm.
proof of being put as a second class citizen for
Mhm.
9 months. And thankfully, we got a premier who was against that, and
Mhm.
put a quash on that pretty fast.
Mhm.
So the control is real. And what's really worrying is the CBDC, because now they'll be able to financially control you as well. Because when you look
Yes.
at the vaccine situation, where if you don't take your medicine, you can't have a job, and
Yes.
many
Right.
people were forced out of careers, and
Yes.
that's not freedom. I hate to tell you, this is Canada. You
Well,
know,
in China, people for people who work for a company, the company will give pressure to the workers. Yes.
yeah, but what? Yeah, what I don't. What I mean. Okay, this is my response to that sort of thing. China, Russia, we know they're tyrannies. We know that there's really not a free political system. I call it so-called political free in China and Russia. We know what's already there. If the government wants this, it'll happen because we know it's a tyranny. Whereas in Canada or Europe or Australia is another good example where you call yourself a democracy, but yet you're controlling people because they don't want to take a medicine that you want them to have. You know what I mean? And
But
that's not it's not freedom.
actually, well, in Western country, it is like this. There are some people who think like you, who think it is like freedom. But I I look, I read some forums, and some people actually don't think so. Some Westerners think that Western is good, and they think anti-vaxxers are bad. There's some people think, or some
Yeah,
people in the West
that's
think.
bad.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So it's not just the policies, because in the future there will be pressure, like pressure to take it. If everyone do it, then you should too. That's because I don't think most people will just believe in the science, believe in the mainstream science. So a lot of people
Right.
will not question it. Probably it's there'll be smaller population who will be against vaccines. Probably that's what I guess.
Well, in our country, Canada, it's about 80% of the country did take at least the first two doses of the
Yeah.
vaccine. So they're considered fully vaccinated. And then there's now 20% of the population that are not vaccinated at all. And that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But the thing
Yeah.
is, when you have a prime minister, Trudeau, who's
Mm-hmm.
insulting the population that chooses not to participate in that, and he's
Mm-hmm.
insulting them, that to me is deadly wrong. Because now you're taking it back to the days of the Nazis, because that's what the Nazis did. They first started targeting Jewish people over 10 years, and they started vilifying a segment of the population, and we know the rest when World War II happened.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
And
Definitely. For me, I just think that it's all experiment. When you take the vaccine, it's all experiment. You're taking part in experiment. Yeah.
yeah,
So you don't
yeah,
know what the outcome will be. You're not sure.
yeah. That's why I'm switching my hat to the Canadian logic hat now. So
Mhm.
I purposely put a hat together for that because it's a political statement that most people don't get. But Yeah, I mean that's the life we've lived for the last 3 years in Canada, and I'm not going to sit here and whine about it, but it's a reality we have to face, and I think
Yes.
we will come to another, call it whatever you want to call it, where we will be faced with the same thing.
Probably there will be a lot of people from North America will who will travel to South America in the future. Probably that will be
Well,
probably they
it's
will.
not. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, probably there will be a lot of people from there go to South America. I don't know,
Well,
but
that
I
that
guess.
that's already happening. Like as I said, Costa Rica is a top pick right now. People are going to Mexico. The Mexicans are complaining about it. I don't blame them. So
Mhm.
that's already happening. So I don't know what more to tell you on that one. And it's just the world right now is insecure and it's becoming more and more dangerous. And the thing that makes it more dangerous are these CBDCs on the financial front. That's the scary part,
Right.
you
Um,
know.
CD,
But go ahead.
yeah, I heard about it, but I don't know how soon it will be. I don't know how soon. I mean, I heard CDBC long time ago, but it seems not that close. But maybe you'll be. Uh, it will be a reality soon. I don't know
Well,
how soon.
it is a reality in Nigeria. I think that's a
Yeah.
test bed for what Nigeria is going through with this CBDC, and these are the outcomes, and they're just kind of testing what will happen. And we're seeing it now that the population's resisting, rising up,
Huh?
and they're still trying to find ways to enforce it. Another country that's already introduced is Jamaica, and
Uh-huh.
but the real resistance is in Nigeria, and it's not going very well for them down there in Nigeria. So you know that's your test bed right there. So it's already underway. Just
Yeah.
technically, a lot of countries have the capabilities to introduce these. They're just trying to figure out the smart way to force it on the population. As I said, there's the British. What the British are doing with their proposal is fascinating, and that's another way to look at how the CBDCs will be introduced in major countries.
Actually, I'm not sure if you are aware of it. Another thing that is is not good is 5G, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
also controversial.
we know about
These
that.
are very controversial topics, like 5G.
Yeah, but in China, don't they have 6G as well? Are they like it's a lot more
Mm,
advanced?
it's it's mostly 5G. 5G is everywhere in Canada, in United States, in Thailand, in everywhere. So I've
Yeah.
seen some people test buy devices to test the strength of the
Mm,
uh, how do I say it? Radiation? Is it radiation?
yeah.
Anyway, it's so they test. So it is pretty strong in Thailand. It's pretty strong in United States.
Yeah.
But Canada, I don't know. But 5G is the signal is very strong and it's very high.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't.
I
For
mean,
me, I don't think it is healthy. I don't think it is healthy.
yeah, that's why I hold this online session on Jitsi because we can talk about this. If this was on Facebook or YouTube, this conversation wouldn't go as far as it is right now because they'd cut the stream by now,
That's true.
you know. But nobody's monitoring this, so we're safe to talk about this stuff. I mean, that's the life we live in the West right now.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I've got my problems being on YouTube and Facebook like the rest of them. So um, that's just the start. Now, to get around your 5G, you can't avoid
Mhm.
it, but the surveillance, you can minimize it.
Mhm.
Here, I'll load up the guy's channel that I watch, which is very good. Um, give me a second here. Uh, let me see here. If you want to learn about privacy, he talks about this too. His name's Rob Braxman. He's Filipino.
Hey guys,
Oh,
I'm on
yeah.
the boat.
So I'll put that in the chat as well. He's very good. I've a product of his. He creates Google phones, so it will take out a lot of the surveillance from Google, Facebook, all the big tech stuff.
Mhm.
So just as a tip. Anything else you want to address at all, Long?
What? Sorry, what?
Is there anything else you'd like to add to the conversation?
Actually, no.
No? Okay. Because I think we got a lot out of you, man, and I appreciate you giving your insights on where you're at and what you're going through. It's rare for folks like us to get those insights.
Your insights is also very helpful to me. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just follow my stuff that I put out there, but I try to stay off as much as social media as possible because of topics like this. So I don't think I'd be able to talk about any of this being on Google or Facebook or any of the other, as I said, with the big tech.
Yes, right.
And anybody else want to add any comments? As I said, I'm going to probably do a topic on Monday about dividend income and follow it up with startups as well. These are just to be aware of when it comes to investing long term. Anybody? Do you want to ask a question or add anything else, Long?
Oh, by the way, you've been what you've been doing is algo trading. So in the future, will you focus more on crypto or stocks or forex, which will be focused?
Yeah, in terms of asset class, right now, if you watch that private video, I would only trade crypto based upon what I'm showing now because I've even up until about 2 weeks ago to make money on crypto is pretty. I'm only talking about from my perspective. I mean, there's geniuses out there that do very well in crypto, but right now, crypto's like a casino. It's really hard. You can make money and then you can lose money just as easy, and you can probably lose more money much easier than making money. So it's very unpredictable. So I'm not saying I'm not a fan. I love crypto and its utility, but trading raw crypto, it's tough outside of what I'm showing tonight. In terms of forex, the returns are not very good because the
Yes.
returns are very tiny, and you have to add a lot of leverage. So you're adding a lot of high risk leverage to get good returns. So that's risky. Now, when it comes to U.S. stock, I like because you have more data points to work with. Like you have forward guidance to work with. You have other trading analysts you can work with. You don't get that with any other asset class. That's why I like stock and specifically U.S. listed stock as well, because there's so much data you can work with and get more predictability out of those stocks that you look at. And that's one of the big reasons why I like it now. Um, because right now the stock markets are kind of choppy and or going down, but there's still stocks still doing very well right now, really well. Just got to find them. That's the problem. So that's why I like stocks. So I don't know what more I can add to that. You got any other questions at all?
No.
No. Okay. Are you a developer yourself?
I never have experienced programming, but I don't think it will be hard to learn. But of course, programming will require a lot of experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it depends what you're trying to do, right? So you can, I'm not
Because
saying
for me, I never need to program. Actually, I try to watch some tutorials on programming. It is pretty easy to learn all the grammar, but when you don't need to use it, then you don't have the experience. Because I never need to use it in the past, unless you have a programmer job.
yeah. Well, Chat GPT is changing all that now as well.
Yeah, I'm aware. So I tried it. There's in the playground, especially in the playground, there's an AI bot which can translate between different programming languages, and they can translate natural language to programming language.
Is that Chinese only, or is that anyone can use that?
Oh, it's from ChatGPT. It's from OpenAI. It's not ChatGPT. It is one of the products that they offered. It's in the playground. You search OpenAI playground.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I don't know this one. So OpenAI Playground.
Yes, and right. Yeah, this will speed up things. Yeah, interesting. Yes, AI. They are saying that they're talking about AI going to replace a lot of jobs, especially I think it will mostly replace editors. If you're a writer, editor, lawyer, programmer, programmer probably also, because they have the thing to translate natural language to programming language.
Yeah, and there's what they call the no code movement as well. So that's another thing as well. There's gonna be a lot of displacement for jobs. Even trucking, warehousing, a lot. It's over the next couple of years, and the technology's there.
Anyway, I don't think the AI can think. I just think that it's just I don't know, but although I don't know much about it, but that's my guess. They use, when I heard the term, is natural language processing. So basically, what they do is process existing data. So the AI don't think; it just process existing data to give me answers, probably.
Yeah. No, I mean, the AI, it's there, and I think it's a lot better than we know. We just haven't seen it publicly yet.
Actually, I tried it. It's the writing is great. The writing is great.
I understand about ChatGPT. What I'm referring to is, what does Google have as a response? You know what I mean? I think Google and other companies are out there with much more advanced than we know. It's just ChatGPT is one of the first ones to see where we're at right now. A lot of people don't know, but the U.S. invented the internet. The U.S. invented, Google Earth. All of that's U.S. military. So what does the U.S. military have on the AI front that we don't know? Let alone the Chinese or anyone else. You know what I mean?
But I just don't believe that AI can make decisions. I can think. They can think for themselves. AI can only be taught what to think.
I agree with what you're saying, but there's something called the singularity, where eventually technology will become smarter than humans, and it becomes a sentient, and it'll be able to think for itself. But we're not there yet. I mean, maybe we are, but
I doubt. What I'm thinking about the ChatGPT, what I'm thinking about ChatGPT is that it's just the authoritative thing. It's, for example, in the past, when you search information on Google, you have different websites that talk about, they all have different opinions. But nowadays, suppose ChatGPT become more popular than search engine, then ChatGPT become the single source of truth. So that's very bad. That's very dangerous. Yes.
I agree with what you're saying, but I'm just saying we don't know, right? We don't know. We don't know where it's going to go and where it will end. We just don't know.
Yeah.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Am I a big fan of that idea? No, because it scares me, right?
Yeah, right.
But doesn't mean that it may or may not happen. We don't know. But it's going to be an interesting world to be part of when that happens. It's not far away, I don't think.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. They say of all applications, when it comes to AI, the hardest application to apply AI is always the capital markets. If they could find an AI that can actually fully 100% trade in the capital markets, then yeah, we have AI can do anything. But capital markets, it's typically the hardest application out there. They've already pretty well mastered. Uh, like I'm just tonight, I've been just testing out the new features of Microsoft's 365 or Office, where you can take an audio file, transcribe it into text, and then run it through another piece of software called Grammarly and be able to build out pretty natural sounding documents just from voice. And it's pretty
Mhm.
close, very close. In my case, I have a 5,000 word document, and probably in 3 hours, I can turn that into a fully text based, pre formatted, and somewhat changed around
Mhm.
document. And that's all from me,
Yes.
not from ChatGPT, right? So that's what
Mhm.
Microsoft's building, but they're using that technology coming out of OpenAI. So it's fascinating, very fascinating. So anything else from anybody? If not, we'll give it a an end, or we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Long. I also forget before I forget. I just want to mention your language is amazing. Like your level of English is like highly advanced.
Thanks. Because I have been reading content in English for a long time. So
How long? How
uh,
how long? How long you been at it?
um, actually, I don't really spend time learning English. I just when I want to learn something and I find the content, English written content, and I read it or listen to it. Yeah, that's what I did.
So
Uh,
did you ever take formal training in English?
Wow, in university we study English, but I never went to the classes. I think I studied all by myself.
That's amazing. Just
Yeah,
amazing.
there are many years because Chinese most Chinese will study English uh, since they were in elementary school. So they
I
start English. They study English very early. The problem is that education system only care about exams. But that's how it can work in China because in China there are so many people. They
yeah.
have to use a way to rank people.
No, but your level and quality of your accent's amazing. It's really advanced.
Thank you. Actually,
Really.
I don't think I'm good. My English is good.
No, man. I'm a Westerner,
Personally,
dude. No, 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 no. If you talk to my Chinese neighbor, she could barely understand me. Like you're perfect. We've been talking what half hour, an hour, and you're picking up everything, and you're not asking me to rephrase anything. That's pretty good. That's very advanced.
thank you. However, I'm aware there are what is real advanced level because I'm aware
Yeah.
some English writers when they write the text just look very high level. When you see the content that we write,
Yeah. Yeah.
there are some bloggers. Yeah, they use very hard vocabulary.
Yeah. Because I was married to a Persian and tried to learn the language, the Farsi of Iran, and
Uh-huh,
to pick up the language was hard, but
uh-huh,
the character set wasn't too hard. I was able to go into parts of Toronto, be able to read the Farsi lettering, but I do
uh-huh.
know that both Japanese and Chinese is very difficult to pick up the writing. Uh,
Right.
so for me to do on the flip side to learn something like Cantonese or Mandarin, and at the same time
Mhm.
learn the written. What's the lettering called? I know that's Cyrillic for think for Russian, but the Chinese letter, I probably wouldn't be able to do it in 2 lifetimes.
Mhm.
But I'm impressed, dude. I'm amazed. Um, Anybody else got any questions at all? No? Okay, I guess we'll give it a wrap. Thanks guys and gals for attending. Thanks a lot, Long, for participating in your audio and conversing. Not a lot of people do that, and I think I admire that. And
Thank you.
I've got a much better understanding of where things are at from the mindset of being in Belarus and mainland China, and I like learning that.
Yeah, yes, thank you. I need to emphasize again that what I shared is just my personal opinion. I don't think a lot of people share or think like most Chinese will not think like me because
No, I'm
for
saying
me,
you're, yeah.
I
Go ahead.
just I think for me, I think I would be the kind of Chinese that is over pessimistic, and most Chinese will not think like that. I think.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome to the club. We're like that here too, so you're not alone. Um, yeah, no, I'm impressed, really impressed. I guess we'll give it a wrap. Again, thanks again, Long, for being part of the conversation. That's a rare, you're an anomaly in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just to be able to talk, that's one thing. That's a pretty impressive. Unless somebody else has any parting words at all? No? Okay. I'll give it a
You
wrap then.
don't-
What's that, Project?
I say thank you for
Oh,
amazing conversation
yeah.
tonight.
This was awesome, dude. Just so you know, what I'm doing with my writing, where I'll tell you offline, but I'm planning to put out some really good articles. And what will happen, hopefully, where I was in the early days, is to bring in people like Long from worldwide and be able to bring in people like Long and at different levels, being in the financial world, capital markets. I've had amazing contacts in the early part of my business, so I'm hoping to bring that back by focusing what I'm planning to do where I was at before Facebook and all that kind of distracted me. So I'm hoping to bring all that back and the kind of high level people that we got with Long and yourself and Karen and whoever else as well. So yeah, it's really exciting, you know. Um, so thanks again, Long, Predrag, and Karen for coming out. I really appreciate it. I'll end the recording and all that, and we'll leave it at that. And have a good day, good night, wherever you are.
You too.
Over.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, no problem.
Uh, yeah.
Thanks so much, Long. All right, have a good day. Bye.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
All right, bye.
Bye.
See ya.
See you.